Yeah, Facebook is still down.
So weird.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, are we lagging? Are we lagging? Still no Facebook. Are we lagging?
Let us know.
Let us know. You are our producers today. Are we lagging tonight?
I'm on the YouTube channel now, and it doesn't look like there's any lag, so I think we're okay. Yeah,
All right.
comment section's coming in hot. No lag, no lag. You're good on YouTube. You good? Okay. I think we're good.
All right. So
Yes, you will have to hit the like button again. I am sorry about that. I know it's frustrating to have to hit that
Mhm.
like button again, but yes, please hit the like button for the no lag. Just if
Yeah.
anything, just be happy there's no lag. Everyone hates buffering.
I
So
I was so pumped. I had the intro all set up. I was ready to go. I was feeling it, but that's okay. We will make the best of it. Want to know why we will make the best of it? We will make the best of it because the Buffalo Bills have won their first playoff game in 25 years. What is that feeling? That 25-year monkey that you got off your back. How are you feeling after this win?
I'm gonna tell you this right now is I was 9, 10 years old the last time they won a playoff game. So my memory is pretty fuzzy from like a real true recall standpoint, right? Like I
Mhm.
remember the Bills and I remember kind of things about that time of my life, but I really don't remember the specifics about us winning that playoff game or really anything about it. So in a lot of ways, this is kind of like experiencing a first, right? And I think for a lot of people, the younger crowd, this is a first for a lot of people. So I think it's more about, you know, a lot of people grew up, and a lot of our audience, I know there's some older people as well, but a lot of our audience grew up basically as the drought team, as their team, right? That they cheered for. So getting this win, it's a great feeling. And I think that I said this to you, and I said this on the pregame show. This was going to be tougher than we probably all thought it should have been because there was this kind of like weight on the organization's shoulders to get this 25-year playoff drought off our backs. And we did that. And I said, I think that honestly, getting through that game, I would expect the Bills to play looser in their next game should they win. So for me, this is a great feeling. You could tell the jubilation not
Mhm.
only in the players, but McDermott raising the fingers as Micah Hyde knocked that pass down to end the game, knowing what it meant to the city, knowing what it meant to the organization. And it's just another box checked, man, on the path to where we want to go. So I felt great. A little stressful, but overall felt great, obviously.
Yeah, before we continue on, Rico says, "You bastards had me humming that damn song at work." LMAO cringe. What song is he? Is he talking about the anthem of our franchise quarterback? Speaking of all that too, you mentioned, we got that monkey off our back. I think that this is something that we almost we should have maybe expected it, right? Because it's not like, no offense to Josh Allen, it's not like he's Aaron Rodgers or even Phillip Rivers, who has been in this moment a lot. This was his second career playoff game. So even though the Buffalo Bills were the better team and are one of the top 2-3 songs in the playoffs, there's still a little pressure. There's still a little pressure on Josh Allen, who showed up, and the team in general,
Mhm,
just because it's really only our second trip with this crew
mhm.
in 3 years. And a lot of those Colts players had been in that moment before, and it's the playoffs. So a very good football team is going to give you everything they got, and they had nothing to lose. And the fact that they had nothing to lose is probably one of the things that helped us win this game, because Frank Wright went a little crazy.
Frank Reich went a little crazy, and think about it, right? The Colts were,
Mhm.
potentially a missed field goal, or a Deshaun Watson drive away from winning the division in that Texans Titans game that ended the year. Had the Texans ended up winning that game, the Colts would have won the division and they would have been hosting they would have been hosting Tennessee. So, it's funny how these things work out. The AFC with these 11-win teams as wild card teams, just really strong top to bottom. The Colts were a very solid team, very few weaknesses on that team. You would say that the Colts are one of those teams that maybe didn't excel at any one thing, like really excel, but they're not bad in anything. They're just good all around team. And Frank Reich, honestly, because I talked to a couple of my buddies. If you look at the box score of that game and that's all you look at, you'd say like, wow, the Colts like outgained the Bills. They actually looked like they were more efficient on offense than the Bills. Their third down conversion rate was quite good, but there were some very specific situational moments in that game, in-game management moments where McDermott's been criticized for these in his career. Frank Reich made some questionable calls. Going for the 2-point conversions early, going for the 4th and goal. Obviously, they were inches away from converting it, but again, you're always going to be second guessed when things don't go your way. And then obviously they missed a kind of a short field goal, which isn't really his fault. But you look at that, and that's why this score was only 3-point game. It was super close, super tight. And those little things can make the difference in games like this. Your boy Lettuce comes in with a super chat here. Says, at least the Colts can hang their hats on not going out like the Steelers. Well, that's certainly true. I mean, the Steelers did make it a little uncomfortable for the Browns there towards the end of that third quarter, but the Colts went out. Rivers, you got to tip your hat to Phillip Rivers. He's had, not the most amount of success in the playoffs for a guy that's probably going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, if not second time around. The Colts gave it their all. I mean, that's all you can say about it.
Yeah, and I mean, a couple of things. The fans in the stadium deserve that W. How much would it have sucked if the Buffalo Bills came up short with no fans in the stands all year, absolutely slaying, and then the first game with fans in the stands, they came up short. So thankfully, they came up big for the fans there. I love how this probably puts an end to the Marvin Lewis, Sean McDermott comparisons. He's already won more playoff games now than Marvin Lewis, and it's not the same old Bills. Like, it's not. Previous Bills teams would have lost this game. It would have been a very Billsy thing to do to lose this football game. And the Buffalo Bills didn't lose a football game where, quite frankly, they were dominated at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. Josh Allen freaking carried us, absolutely carried us. But I got to say, I think as well as Josh Allen played, I think the thing that really brought us to victory was Knapp's mustache.
Oh, yeah. And I just want to point out to the viewers, our comments are getting a little bit delayed here. So I do see the super chats coming through on the YouTube side, and we'll get those put up as soon as they come through. I see Jeff King has put in an awesome super chat. So we're going to pull that up
as soon as we can.
As soon as it comes through. But let me just talk about Jeff King's super chat really quick.
Okay.
And Jeff gave us $50, just so you know.
Thank you,
We're going
Jeff.
to pull it up. He says, guys, been with the Bills since 76. So fuck all that crap I'm hearing about the Ravens. These guys want this. They are tired of the rhetoric and disrespect. You can see it. It's going to be a blowout. No, but they got this. Trust and believe. And there is some truth to that, because I do believe that this Bills team and these players, like I've said before, they don't give a damn about the drought. They don't give a damn about the team that lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. They want to put their stamp on this franchise in their own way. And honestly, they want to not make us forget about those 90s teams, but they want us to this version of the Bills wants us to think about this era, this 2020s Bills, or if you want to call it late 20 teens, as the era, the shining moment of Buffalo Bills football. So I'm with Jeff King there. I think that, that's totally true. And I mean, what else can you say about it? I'm gonna try to see if I can fix this comments thing, by the way, while you give your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I was ready to come in here prepared to say, like, the goalposts have moved this season, right? Like, we came into this season wanting the Buffalo Bills to win a playoff game and win the division, and we'd be satisfied with that if that's all that happened. And as the season progressed, the goalposts moved because of how good this football team and what they are capable of. So, I mean, I expect another win, but I'm not about to, like, I feel like I was feeling some things during this football game. Like I had a lot of anxiety in me. I had a lot of stress in me. I mentioned on Twitter, like my fiance had to leave the house and I made my dog piss itself because she was so nervous. My dog is like an empath. Whenever I'm feeling nervous and shaky, she's feeling nervous and shaky. And like I don't know how I survived that football game. And that's me as a fan. So I can only imagine the monkey that was on the elephant that was on the back of these football players who had to go out there and break a 25-year drought. That pressure is gone. And I was going to come on here and I was prepared to say, like, I think I might feel a little less anxious this game. I think I might feel a little less stressed this game because that monkey is off of our back. Like, all right, we can always hang our hat on that one W. I think the Buffalo Bills might be the same way, where, all right, the pressure is off now. We can just go back to playing our game, be the Buffalo Bills that we've been all season. I think there is something to be said about getting that one W out of the way. And I think that you're going to see a better defensive performance against the Ravens. I think you'll see the defense turn it around. And I think you'll see the offense continue to do what it did.
I agree. And I'm going to just roll off a few more super chats that came in after.
So sorry, guys. So sorry.
And so Brooke, who's a regular of ours as well. Thank you, Brooke, for watching. She says, Indy had a damn good defense. They had an answer for almost everything we did offensively, and the officiating was terrible. I mean, yeah, you look at what Greg Tomset really summarized it well from Cover One. He put kind of a list of all the things on Twitter that the Bills kind of overcame, right? Like getting outplayed, losing the time of possession battle, bad calls, right? Third down, like all these things, the Bills didn't play their best game, and yet they overcame it and still won. And I think that's what good teams do. I mean, Truth to Hearts makes a comment very similar. Says, I think Frank did a hell of a job. That's the kind of attitude you must have when you know the team on the other side is better. Be aggressive and play to win, not to lose, unlike what Mike Tomlin did last night. I honestly I can justify more what Frank Reich did in going for that than probably what Tomlin did punting, honestly, if you're going to put it in that kind of context. Yeah, he had to figure at some point the Bills were going to make a run. Josh Allen was going to do his thing, and that's
yeah, I mean,
that's kind of what happened.
You figure, before your next comment, you figure if they score that touchdown there and then they kick the ball off to the Bills and the rest of the game goes the rest of the way the game went, when Josh Allen takes that sack and fumbles and Darrell Williams picks it up, like the game's over at that point because the Bills would have needed 4 points, I believe, to win the football game. So they would have had to pick up a 2nd and 33 and march down the field and scored a touchdown. So Phillip Rivers, instead of tossing a Hail Mary, would have been kneeling down the football. So, you know, I saw a lot of criticism of Frank Reich on Twitter and on Colts Twitter, and they were just crucifying the man. But I mean, if Michael Pittman stretches out his arm one more inch, they probably win that football game. So kudos to Frank Reich for having the balls to make that call. Unlike again, Mike Tomlin last night. I'd rather have a Frank Reich any day of the week than a Mike Tomlin making that call. You said you had another super chat you wanted to read off?
Yeah, there's another super chat from your boy Lettuce again.
Yes, your boy Lettuce. I love it.
Your boy Lettuce. I was talking about Phillip Rivers being a Hall of Famer. He says neither Eli or Phillip will be first ballot. Ben will. Talking about that quarterback class. JP Lossman, no love from that quarterback class. No, just kidding. Everyone kind of forgets about him. Because,
he's the Sam Darnold of that draft class.
He might be the Josh Rosen,
Rosen.
at this point, because at least Darnold might still have a future. We'll see. But anyway, I think we're caught up on the super chats. There's a ton of other comments in.
I think our comment section is back as well too. So
yes, we are back. We are back on the comments section. So thank you. Thank you to our platform here for finally getting us back.
Yeah.
So I think we are good on the comment section. Keep them rolling in. People are talking about Antonio Williams. We're talking about the Ravens. We got a lot to talk about, but I know the focus tonight was really more on the Colts recap. But now, you know, we got to get into this game a little bit, I feel like, right? And Josh Allen.
I mean, let's talk about the Colts game. But while we talk about the Colts game, I feel like we can also blend it in with what we're going to be doing against the Ravens on Thursday. What do you think the Buffalo Bills did well? Like what were the good things that the Buffalo Bills did? And let's start with Josh Allen, obviously.
Well, again, what he's been doing all season, right? I mean, he didn't let things kind of spiral out of control, right? Nothing was going the Bills' way early in the game, especially the field position battle, right? Colts were getting great field position. The Bills were pinned at their own 3 on that first drive. We had a quick 3 and out, and you're like, man, like this offense needs to get something going, but we couldn't ever seem to get the field position back in our favor. And so, honestly, having a 3 and out when you start in your own 3, I mean, it's not that uncommon, I feel like, right? I mean, it's difficult to get out of your own zone when you're that deep. So for Josh Allen to, again, remain calm, again, make some heady plays where he kind of flipped it up the middle to Diggs, which kind of got us rolling on that touchdown drive. The option pass where he had the option to run or throw, and he kind of shot putted it to Knox. He did sprinkle enough of those plays in early in the game to where the Bills were actually winning, and then they were obviously only down by 3. So as slow as it kind of started as like a dogfight where the Bills really trying to get their footing, Josh Allen had enough plays in him early in the game, even when things were not going the Bills' way, to keep the Bills in the game. And then the end of the first half, honestly, was such a huge thing there, with obviously throwing the, Gabriel that stands as a catch Davis when he threw it from his own end zone down that right sideline. I mean, those types of plays are game-changing type plays. Now, it may not have been a touchdown, but that's a game-changing type play. Similar to the play to Cole Beasley on Thanksgiving last year from his own end zone. Like, those types of plays are what kept the Bills in this game. And for anyone to think that the Bills won this game for any other reason other than Josh Allen being the main reason why the Bills won this game, they're not watching the same game as me.
Yeah, and I'm thinking we lost our comment section again because I haven't seen anything rolling lately. So this is just a
got a couple more super chats. I'll get them. I'll get them going here. So
right.
Jeff King says, and Jeff, thanks again for the super chat. We got 3 in a row here, so I'll get to them. Jeff says, guys, I knew we should have won the first Super Bowl, second, third, fourth. I knew in my gut we had no chance from the start. But this team, this QB, we got the next game. They got their wake-up call this weekend. So he's talking about the QB, obviously Josh Allen. Brooks says Allen had a sugar high moment, seemed okay afterwards. And then Truth to Heart says, I think our defense did an amazing job. Fourth quarter up by 14. Everyone thought the Colts would abandon the run. The Colts caught us off guard. So let's hit on those first couple comments about Josh Allen, and then Truth to Hearts. We'll definitely we're going to talk about that defense afterwards. But that's a very good point I think he makes there.
I mean, when I look at Josh Allen's performance, Bill Cowher said it best. He carried this football team. He was the Buffalo Bills. It was Josh Allen. It was Stephon Diggs. It was Gabriel Davis. It was our offensive line in pass blocking. A little bit of Cole Beasley sprinkled in, Micah Hyde in the first half, and Tyler Bass. Like that was it. That's what the Buffalo Bills was rolling with. Those are the only people that really stood out and stepped up for the Buffalo Bills on Saturday. And we still managed to win the football game because we have an MVP caliber quarterback, because we have one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league, and probably this season, one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league. I think when all is said and done, he'll be consistently a top 5 quarterback in the league. But right now, he's one of the best 2-3 quarterbacks in the National Football League. I mean, those 2 throws to Davis, Gabriel Davis, from our own end zone to get us into scoring position, to get us some points before the half. In the second half, that throw he threw to Davis, where Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes be damned. I think Josh Allen is the only person in the National Football League who could make that throw. Rolling out, across his body, ripping a pass to Gabriel Davis, like 30 yards down the field, right on the money, where he'd catch it and toe tap. I mean, he was making some throws that I don't think anyone could make. And then that touchdown, like he audibles mid-play and just throws a shot to Dawson Knox. If that was Patrick Mahomes, it's the number 1 play on SportsCenter. It's everything everyone's talking about for a week, but it's Josh Allen, so it's not. Like, this dude legitimately carried us. And when people say, why are the Buffalo Bills going to beat the Baltimore Ravens? Why do you have confidence the Buffalo Bills are going to beat the Baltimore Ravens? As much as I love Sean McDermott, I don't have confidence that the Buffalo Bills are going to beat the Ravens because of Sean McDermott. As much as I love our defense when they step up, Buffalo Bills ain't going to win this game next week because of their defense. If the Buffalo Bills win this football game, the best thing that gives the Buffalo Bills a chance to win this football game is Josh Allen, and they let him cook. Because if that's what happens, there's ain't nobody who can beat us, 9 times out of 10. That's why I'm so confident. because
I
this
agree.
dude is legit.
I'm with you. Your boy Lettuce has another super chat for us. Says, I feel like we can keep Lamar out of the edge. We just have to force them to run downhill. That slows them down. I like our pass pro to Matt Tripes. So we should talk about that when we start talking about the defense in this game, because I think there's going to be some similarities. So
Yeah.
thank you, Lettuce, for that super chat.
Yeah, when I look at the Ravens defense, or when I look at the Ravens offense, first of all, no man-to-man. Like, we don't hardly ever play man-to-man. We will not be playing any man-to-man on Saturday night, because if you turn your back to Lamar Jackson, look out. The defensive ends are going to have to set the edge. The defensive tackles are going to have to anchor. The linebackers are going to have to fill the gaps, be playing their best football. And the secondary, I would drop four guys back, five guys back into coverage, in zone coverage. And I would put the rest right up around the box. Make Lamar Jackson be a quarterback, and don't let him break off. He's going to break off his runs, but if he breaks off one or two instead of 4 or 5, you have a really good chance of winning the football game if you make him be a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, Joshua Arnold comes in with a super chat and says, the Bills clearly have more weaknesses than the Ravens. He says, we are trash at stopping the run, and we can't establish the run. The Ravens are more well-rounded. At some point, we just can't keep barely scraping by. Look, I mean, we had a 14-point fourth quarter lead, right? And we're going to talk about the defense here in a little bit, but I know at the end of the game, it looks like the Bills scraped by. And to some extent, that's true based on kind of what happened in the fourth quarter. But looks like it's
back. Yes, it is back.
Okay, so there you go. That's the super chat. I mean, look, we're going to get to it, but the Bills were pretty good at stopping the run in this game up until the fourth quarter, when Truth to Hearts made a good point. They caught us off guard when we thought they were going to be throwing. We'll get into that. So let's finish talking about the offense here and some of the other performances outside of Josh Allen.
Yeah, and a couple other things to talk about too. There is this defense has run really hot and cold this year, right? Like, there are some performances. I'm thinking back to, like, the San Francisco game and a couple other games where, like, they played like lights out. We're like, yes, this defense is back. And then you saw what you saw yesterday. It's hot or cold. There's no like lukewarm, Bills defense. So hopefully, with all that pressure off the back from this Colts game and getting that W off the back, maybe our defense can get back to where it was the last couple of weeks, and we can. I mean, we handled the Ravens last year. I understand that Shaq Lawson's gone and Jordan Phillips is gone and Starlo Lele is gone, but we've added some pieces, and I still think that we can have a relatively similar game plan that we had last year and have some success. But yeah, finishing up the offense, pass blocking, phenomenal. Stephon Diggs, I mean, that's why you pay the man. Cole Beasley, what a freaking warrior. What a gutty performance. Gabriel Davis. I was racking my brain trying to think of, I'm watching him play, and I've watched him for a couple weeks now, and I'm like, what does this dude remind me of? What does this dude remind me of? I'm like freaking out. I'm freaking out. And I'm like, I'm not freaking out, but I was just like, it was killing me. Like, it was killing me. I'm like, where? And then I turned on the Sunday or the Saturday night game, and it clicked. Number 13, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I was like, obviously, Gabriel Davis is not Mike Evans. I mean, Mike Evans is one of the best wide receivers in the game. He was the first wide receiver, I think, ever to start his first 8 seasons with 1,000 yards. The dude's an absolute touchdown monster. I'm not saying Gabriel Davis is Mike Evans, but I went and I looked up their RAS scores. He's 3 inches shorter, 15 pounds lighter. It's got a little bit smaller of a wingspan, but their deep speed is similar. Their strength is similar. Their linear speed is similar. They're both weak in agility. They're linear, freakish athletes, both Gabe Davis and Mike Evans. So I'm not saying that Gabe Davis is going to be Mike Evans, but I have some hope that he could be like a Mike Evans light and be a really good number 2 football player on this, or number 2 receiver on this team, and make some clutch catches and be a really big threat in the red zone. And for a 4th round pick, it ain't bad if you get yourself a Mike Evans light. So when you're watching Gabe Davis out there, think to yourself, because this guy's only going to get better the more the game slows down for him. Just think of Mike Evans a little bit when you're watching Gabe Davis play football. We got another super chat from Jeff King. Guys, I really appreciate it tonight, because this technology is being awfully brutal to us. So you guys, your kindness is without a doubt greatly appreciated. So thank you, Jeff. He says, listen, stop stressing. We got this next one. It ain't going to be pretty, but we're going to win this. I'm feeling confident as long as Josh Allen's our quarterback, and Josh Allen is our quarterback. We got Riku coming in saying, can you take me higher? We have to play smash mouth football this weekend. Antonio Williams and Yeldon need to be brought up. We cannot go into next game depending solely on JA-17's arms and legs. Let's take a quick detour to have a conversation about the running back position. Zach Moss out for the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. You know me. He's my favorite player. I hope that doesn't jinx the fact that I've been wearing a Zach Moss jersey and we haven't lost since I put it on. So let's hope it doesn't jinx that. But like at the end of the day, it's probably going to be TJ Yeldon. I mean, this is a guy who's got multiple years experience in the playbook. The Buffalo Bills could be using him, like they could use him in the passing game, all these different things. And I just, as much as Sean McDermott said, hey, he impressed us, I don't know. I can't picture the Buffalo Bills in a playoff game in January putting in a guy with like 1 quarter of NFL experience. Can you?
I can't, but the only reason I would say that you might is because you think that Antonio Williams can bring you something in the power run game that maybe TJ Yeldon can't. Now, with that being said, I think they will go with trust over anything in this situation. They're going to go with the veteran that they trust probably more than anything. Do I think Antonio Williams probably has fresher legs, maybe brings a little bit more pop to the running game than a TJ Yeldon? Yes, probably. But I will say this. If you watch what the Ravens just did to the Tennessee Titans, the power running game was not working for Tennessee. Okay. They shut Derrick Henry down, and Derrick Henry was a 2,000-yard rusher this year. So if you're the Bills, and like Tarico said, if you're going into this game and you're thinking you're going to play some smash mouth football against the Ravens, I'm here to tell you it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
You don't want to play their game.
Yeah, you may have some spotty success with it, but I don't think that's the formula for success for the Bills in this game. The formula for success in the Bills, and I know I'm getting off topic here, is that's why I think it's going to be TJ Yeldon if we're talking about the running backs, because the power running game to me is not what's going to win you this game against the Ravens. I think you go with the veteran, the guy that can maybe make a few catches for you out of the backfield as the Ravens unleash some of that pass rush. Smart player in Yeldon. He's been around. He knows where he's supposed to be. It'll be probably a nice calming presence for Singletary. Not that he needs it, but just to have that guy there next to him without his normal running mate of Moss. I just think it's going to be Yeldon. I just feel like that's going to be the guy.
We got Reed coming in saying, do you guys have any questions about Daboll's play calling at some point in this game? There was a point where I just like under my breath, I'm like, don't question the play calling. Don't question the play calling. Don't question the play calling. I was just like, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't say it on Twitter. Don't say it on Twitter. He's going to come back and he's going to have a better, second half, and he's going to bite you in the ass. Don't tweet it. Don't tweet it. And then he ran the ball 3 straight times and we had to punt. And I was like, I was losing it. I was absolutely losing it. I think you got to be concerned a little bit. I mean, Cole Beasley said this was the toughest defense they have faced all year. He said they executed to perfection. They were prepared for the Buffalo Bills. It took them a while to figure them out. So it's kind of like the Miami game. We just didn't get as hot because they're obviously, I shouldn't say they're obviously a better defense. I mean, hell, we were playing the number 1 defense in the National Football League with Miami, but they just didn't show up that day. The Colts did. Against the Baltimore Ravens, if the Baltimore Ravens dominate field position like the Indianapolis Colts dominated field position, you can't waste any possessions because the Baltimore Ravens will put you away. They will score if you lose the field position battle like you lost to the Colts. So is it concerning in this game? No, obviously we won, but we can't take almost 2 quarters to figure out the Baltimore Ravens defense. That ain't going to work, especially if we're losing the field position game. Field position, to me, needs to be the number 1 priority in practice this week. We need to figure out how to go back to what was making us successful all year. All year, we were starting our possessions from like practically midfield. And this game, we started from inside the 10 freaking yard line the whole first half. It was insane.
Yep.
It was absolutely insane. So if I'm Sean McDermott, I'm like, Andre, I love you. I respect you. I have 100% faith and trust in you. But if that ever happens again, fucking fair catch the kickoff. Fucking fair catch it. We love you, Andre. We trust you. We know you have it in you to take one back. I understand that you're second team All-Pro and a Pro Bowler, and we probably shouldn't be questioning you, but just learn to take a fucking knee, because my goodness, we needed the 25-yard line more than anything in the world last game.
Well, you can tell he was pressing, right? He knew the Bills were having bad field position, so he was trying to do what he could to get that back, and it obviously kind of didn't work out, but he wasn't scared, which I appreciate. But yeah, field position is going to be huge. JW here coming in with a super chat. Tired of hearing that Baltimore are the team the Bills don't want to face. Bills went D-line heavy in free agency in the draft just for the Ravens run game, in my opinion.
Like I said, they've been hot or cold. That's the biggest issue I have. I would expect a couple of changes to the defensive line this week. I think we might see some Quentin Jefferson on the edge. Like, I think Quentin Jefferson moving to defensive end for a week might be something we see to try to set the edge, get the bigger, beefier guys like Vernon Butler and Harrison Phillips and Justin Zimmer on the inside. We might even see Trent Murphy this week, guys. We might even see Trent Murphy this week. So don't be surprised. I understand where you're coming from, JW. Like, they got to respect Josh Allen. Like, they have to respect Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes played the Baltimore Ravens third week of the season, threw for almost 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. They have to respect Josh Allen, because Josh Allen is on Patrick Mahomes' level. And that's what Patrick Mahomes did to them. I understand it was a different time of the season. I understand that this team is on a roll and they're very confident in themselves. I understand that, like, there's a lot of things fueling them, some self-driven things. Remember the Titans went on a heater midseason because they played the victim from their own COVID dilemma? That's what the Baltimore Ravens are doing, and they're still riding it. So who knows? Maybe Baltimore comes into this game overconfident. And Josh Allen can take advantage of that. So as long as we got JA on our side, I feel like we are the favorites.
Jeff coming in with a super chat. Since we're talking about running backs, here's his take. Yeldon has had his time. He ain't it. This is all or nothing. Williams is an unknown commodity. So McDermott's saying to himself, win the whole fucking thing. And there's some truth to that, I think. And there is an element here of having an unknown commodity and sort of what Antonio Williams can bring to the table. I mean, unless they're all three active, it would be hard for me to envision a scenario where McDermott has Williams active and Yeldon inactive, I guess. So maybe all three would be active. Maybe maybe see that.
Don't get me wrong. I'm with you guys. Like, what I saw from Antonio Williams was exciting as hell. Like, I want to see it too. I want to see more of it. Like, I'm like, all right, that was awesome. That was a great taste. I want more. Like, that's what Antonio Williams left you with. But picture this, we're a passing football team, right? And, we're trying to lead the team down on a touchdown drive. And Antonio Williams is in the shotgun with Josh Allen, and Matthew Judon comes around the corner, and Antonio Williams doesn't block him properly. Josh Allen gets smoked, fumbles the football. Baltimore runs it back for a touchdown. Those are the things that I think as fans we don't think about. Like, Antonio Williams might not be a great pass blocker yet. And pass blocking is something you might really need if you plan on just going full out with your passing attack against the Baltimore Ravens.
And Rashid Turner comes in with a super chat here, says, I'm worried about the line of scrimmage because we're just talking about that D line for just a second. Jerry Hughes, 4.5 sacks, 19 solo, 29 combined, high cap offseason cut, please. I just don't see Jerry Hughes being cut. I think that it's tough. It's easy to look at the sack numbers and say that Jerry Hughes isn't filling up the box score, but he's getting a lot of pressures. He's top 20 in the NFL in pressure rate. He is a guy that in spots can make game-changing plays. We saw that against Denver. And I just don't see, for what you're paying him, another option that you're going to get for that type of money for a guy that's still, he's still creating havoc. I know we want to see more sacks. I get it. I mean, we were all kind of going crazy last game where, with Rivers, and we weren't able to get to him. It seemed like we were close many times, but Rivers was also getting rid of the ball very quickly. I mean, that's kind of what he was doing. Kind of had the Baker Mayfield approach, if you will, from last night. against the Steelers, getting the ball out quickly. It's tough to get sacks on quarterbacks when they're getting rid of the ball in within 2 seconds of getting the snaps. So,
and another thing I'll say about Hughes too is him and Ed Oliver have been the two best players on our line all year, like period. Like they've been the two best. I have a lot of reservations about our line. I was really excited in free agency when we went out and got Quentin Jefferson and Vernon Butler and Mario Addison. Like I was pumped. I'm like, all right, we're retooling. And then I saw him on the field and I'm like, man, none of these guys are really power players. Like none of these guys are really true power players. And more often than not, the Buffalo Bills are getting pushed around at the line of scrimmage. And I was having a conversation with Nate Geary of WGR 550, and we both were just like, man, we'd like to see some more power players in the Buffalo Bills defensive line. Like they just remade their defensive line, and we both would like to see them maybe admit some mistakes and go after some other players, whether it's JJ Watt or it's Jadavion Clowney on a 1-year prove it deal. Like whether it's drafting a defensive tackle like Marvin Wilson from Florida State in the second round. I think Jerry Hughes can still be I think Jerry Hughes would have better box score statistics if there were some more power players around him. But this defensive line is so finesse and there's so little brute strength to it that a finesse player like Jerry Hughes just gets lost in the shuffle of all the finesse. He needs those power players to play off of. And I just don't know if Ed Oliver too. And I just don't know if the Buffalo Bills have that on their defensive line. They just too many finesse guys. Like Ed Oliver and Jerry Hughes are your finesse guys. AJ Epinesa, apparently after losing 25 pounds, is going to be one of your finesse guys. Go get some power players this offseason, and let's add a little bit more oomph to this defensive line because they're just getting pushed around. They have some good games where they show up. I mean, they get beat a couple of plays, like the San Francisco game. They showed up. They played really good trench football. The New England game, the second New England game, they played really good trench football. The Miami game, they played really good trench football, but more often than not, they just don't show up in the trenches, and it's disappointing in the run game, on offense, and on defense. So I'm with you.
We got a few more super chats. Comments are out again. Your boy Lettuce has a comment. I think he's the next one after Rashid. So he says, with our looming cap issues and the emergence of Davis, can we afford to cut Brown? I think we might be able to keep him if we can get Diggs to extend. It's a great comment. I mean, we're talking about Brown in the sense of a cap casualty in the context of bringing Kenny Stills in as a potential guy that's still on this team next year. But really, even before the Kenny Stills situation with the emergence of Gabriel Davis, you always thought that there was a chance that John Brown may be the odd man out of this group. And let's just put it bluntly, he had a dud, whether that's rust or whatever. He had no catches, couple balls go through his hands. And Gabriel Davis just keeps stepping up in big moments. Another super chat here from Mike Lasinski. I think I said that right. It's good that the Colts weren't a walkover. Now they can have that bad taste of a loss that can happen. Reinforces keeping their foot on the gas. And yeah, I mean, it's playoff football. A blowout would have been great, but Mike's right. Like, we were on the brink there for a little bit. So it was nice. Joshua Winder says, why do you guys think we have such a hard time covering the tight ends this year? And I'm going to let you comment on that in just a second after I read this next super chat. Josh was 17 for 39 for 146 in a TD against a better Ravens team last year, and we lost by 7. I trust this Josh to get it done. Go Bills from Denver. From Andre Simeone. So I want you to talk, Steve. I want you to talk about the tight ends because we did struggle a little bit against Jack Doyle and Mo Alley Cox in this game.
Yeah. To go back to the one super chat before that, like where he said it's a wake up call. I totally agree with that. Like I totally agree with it being a wake up call. Like I said, this defensive line runs really hot and cold. So getting spanked around by Quentin Nelson and Ryan Kelly. And guys like Brandon Smith and on the other end, DeForest Buckner, that could wake up the Buffalo Bills defense, and they could have one of those games where they run really hot because they're playing extra motivated. You shouldn't need that in the playoffs, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. And then to the next point with the tight ends, I mean, we play zone, right? Like we play a zone defense, And in a zone defense, like tight ends usually aren't the best athletes ever. Jack Doyle is not the best athlete ever. Mo Alley Cox is not the best athlete ever. Trey Burton is not the best athlete ever. They're not scrubs. They're not the best athletes ever. However, when you don't have Matt Milano lined up with them mano a mano, it is, all right, this is my area. When he moves to that area, I'm pushing him off to you. And there's all that communication involved in a zone defense, and your defensive line isn't getting any pressure. And Phillip Rivers is like 1, 2, 3, boom, 1, 2, 3, boom. Who's usually the closest guy to the quarterback when he wants to throw the football? It's usually the tight end, because the wide receiver routes take longer to develop down the field. So when Phillip Rivers' game plan is just dink, 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 and our defensive line can't get any legitimate pressure without blitzing, that's what's going to happen to a zone defense. Now, the way you counter that is patience. The way you counter that is patience. Let them have it. Let them have it. Let them have it. And then shut them down once they get past like the 50-yard line, or once they get into field goal range. It's that old mentality. We'll score touchdowns, they'll kick field goals. Bend but don't break.
Mm-hmm.
That is sometimes a philosophy that teams take. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's a philosophy that Sean McDermott takes now that he feels confident in his offense. All right, we'll just play a bend but don't break. Because I honestly don't think Sean McDermott has, as much as he says he does, I think Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane are going to admit this offseason they made a couple of mistakes along that defensive line. And you're going to see a hard reset if the salary cap allows. I don't think he has 100% confidence in that front four right now.
I know, and it's sad because that was one of the units I was really high on going into this year. Alex Wilson comes in with a super chat here, says, huge fan of BF. Saturday's win was the first Bills win of my life, playoff win of my life, I assume. So he made a big highlight video.
He was born on Monday.
Made a highlight video to celebrate. It's on my channel. Go Bills. We've got Rady716 with a super sticker for $4.99. Thank you, Rady. No chat there, but if you want to put a comment in there, please go ahead. Andrew Miller, a longtime follower of ours, says we have the highest paid D-line in the NFL, and they are a joke. I don't know. Is that correct? Someone fact checked Andrew on that. Do we have the highest paid defensive line in the NFL?
I think he's correct. I think if you include Star Lotulelei in there, okay. And I mean to go back to the John Brown comment too, not to jinx the Bills or anything, but I actually started doing some offseason research, and I put together sort of my skeleton roster, and I looked at, all right, what's the salary cap looking like? Who are players that the Buffalo Bills could consider jettisoning? What would their dead cap be? How much savings would there be? If you look at it, these are the players that could be on the chopping block this offseason because of the salary cap. John Brown, Lee Smith, Mitch Morse, Jerry Hughes, Mario Addison, Vernon Butler, Quentin Jefferson, Tyler Matakevich. Those are the guys who there's a pretty significant increase between their dead cap hit and the money you save. Like a lot of these guys are, you save $7 million, you take a dead cap of $2 million, or you save $4 million, you take a dead cap of $1 million. There's a lot of those guys. And when you're going to be really up on it in the salary cap, if the salary cap doesn't go up to like 195 or 200, like we're expecting. Mm-hmm. And I was having some conversations with some people, and they said, well, Brandon Beane's a pretty good restructure guy, right? Like, mm-hmm. We're stuck with Star Lotulelei another year, because this was supposed to be Star Lotulelei's last year. His contract is super easy to get out of next year. I think Quentin Jefferson and Vernon Butler, the plan was to have them this year, next year, and jettison them before year 3 if they weren't living up. I think the plan was to jettison Jerry Hughes after next season. Same like John Brown, probably let him walk for a Gabe Davis. But some of those things might be moved up a year because of this cap situation. And it'll be really interesting to see if we have money to play with, because if we have money to play with, we can find a way to maneuver, or the cap stays where it is. I think you could see guys like Star Lotulelei get restructured to save some money, but he'll stay there because you need that big bulk. And I think you could see Quentin Jefferson and Vernon Butler and maybe even Mario Addison be one and done.
Very well could. I mean, in a way, I kind of feel like if Star does get restructured, it's almost like it's like signing him all over again in a way. Getting him back next year for that big fatty that you always clamor for. Rashid Turner comes in with a super chat, says we got older on the line. Hughes is 32. We do have some age on that line, but we also do obviously have Epinesa, Oliver, a couple younger guys.
Mike Love.
But overall, yeah, it's an older group. Your boy Lettuce comes in with another super chat, says Stars opt-out was a huge blow. Yeah, kind of like you said, messed up the schedule a little bit of maybe what Bean's plans were. We've got another super chat from, I just saw it. Austin Walker says, I think one of the keys to stopping Lamar is containing him. Obviously, right now he's the best at the best at containing the QB is Epinesa. I know he's young, but he's the best. I mean, he has been pretty good at that. And there's some truth to that. And I'm glad that he's playing more. And one of the younger guys, like we said on that line, Jeff King comes in with a super chat, and this is for you, Judge. He says, Judge, my man, you're overthinking this. Enjoy the ride. We will come out on top in the end. The D got pimp slapped this weekend, especially Milano, so I'm expecting a much better game
That's what I'm expecting too. Like I may have mentioned in the comment earlier. Like I really do think that Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier are going to have the right game plan. It's going to be up to those guys to take last week in the chin and come out this week and execute. Because how do you beat Lamar Jackson? You make him play quarterback. So play zone. Get pressure on him, keep contained, do all the right things, make him throw outside of the sticks down the football field. That's how you beat Lamar Jackson. So if Lamar Jackson,
there we go, we're caught up again. So I'm gonna just throw some of these on the screen just so people can get their things. You can keep talking, but I'm gonna throw some of these on the screen just just so people can see their comments up there. But you go ahead.
Yeah, it's if Lamar Jackson has to be more of a quarterback on Saturday night than a running back, the Buffalo Bills have won the football game. Like straight up, if Lamar Jackson has to be more of a quarterback than a running game, they're losing. So the more you can get Lamar to throw, the more likely you're increasing your chances of winning that football game. Rasheed Turner comes in and says Starr was getting bullied last year. I don't disagree, but also I think Ed Oliver had a really good back half of last year. And I think one of the reasons why was he was playing really well off of Star Lotulelei. So even if he wasn't playing the best, he seemed to have like a good working relationship with the guy next to him in Ed Oliver. And Ed Oliver, in my opinion, made some of the eye-popping plays he did because of the way he was playing off a Star. All right. What else we got?
Well, I think we're caught up on the super chats now, but I thought there was an interesting comment in here by RC3. And I want you to, give your take on whether you think there's validity to this or not, because I think there is some validity to this. I think the Indy game was more nerves than just playing. We will look a lot better than this week. I think there were some nerves, right? Yeah. I think it was a combination of nerves and obviously a combination of it being a good football team that we were going against, right? That was well coached and had a veteran quarterback that kind of knew what he was doing. And the Colts are a good team. So all of those factors, again, taking into account, I had said to a couple people on Twitter on the side that I thought that the game would start out with the teams kind of feeling each other out and not be surprised if we got off to a little bit of a slow start for that reason of the Colts being good and because of the nerves. And that's kind of what happened. But again, all of those things that went against the Bills, the field position, the third down defense, all that, and they still found a way to win, really just shows how good this team is. So I do think there's some validity to that. There were some nerves. And I think now that win, not that the Bills are playing with house money, because I don't want to say that, because I think the Bills really should win this game upcoming, but that first one is always the toughest, right? That first one is always the toughest. And now that they got that one off their back, let's see what they can do.
Yeah, we got Mike Lazinski coming in here. He says, side topic, what's the word on a new stadium? I can never find anything more than speculation. So over the last 5-6 years, the Pagulas have channeled a ton of money, and the county of Erie have channeled a ton of money into Bill's Stadium, which is apparently going to be getting a new name soon. They built that beautiful workout facility that players love, the workout and recuperation facility. They've done a lot of work to the outside of the stadium. I mean, it used to look like an old 1980s factory, like you were going to work in the steel mill before you were walking into a Buffalo football game. Now there's trees, there's grass, there's like a concert stage, there's all these cool things. So honestly, Bill's Stadium could probably last another 10, 15 years in its current state, in my opinion, because people in Buffalo don't really complain too much. It's and then if you want to pump even more money into it, it could last forever. Look at Lambeau, look at Arrowhead, look at Soldier Field in Chicago. You can make old stadiums last. However, if you've ever heard Roger Goodell speak about the Buffalo Bills stadium situation, if you ever heard Jerry Jones open his mouth or Robert Kraft open his mouth, all they care about is big, fancy stadiums with what corporate suites and seat licenses and all of those things, big shiny toys. They want it to look like a Roomba, or they want it to look like a spaceship, like these stupid things. Now, I don't really understand where the NFL, like me personally, I don't understand where the NFL is coming from, because in Buffalo, which is a blue collar town, you're never giving us a Super Bowl anyway.
No,
so why the fuck do you care what our stadium looks like? Why would you take the hard-earned tax money of people who live in Western New York and pump it into a stadium you're never going to give a big game to? Right. Don't understand it. Yep. However, that's what they want. They want their big shiny toys.
Well, and that's the only reason they gave, Super Bowl's always been either in indoor or warm weather, and the only reason they put it in New York was because of the market as far as MetLife is concerned.
And why did the Giants not build a freaking dome? Like, really? New York, if you built a dome, you'd be hosting the Super Bowl every other year. Anyway, besides the point. From
got another super chat here from Rashid. The chat's delayed again.
Yeah. Can I say one more thing before I move on?
Yeah, go ahead.
I know you said you've never heard anything more than speculation, but I have a couple of people I know that I trust, that know some people who know some people. I know that sounds super shady and super gossipy, but
pretty shady there. Pretty shady.
No, I've heard some things from some people that I trust that a plan for a new stadium is in place. But it's about a half decade down the road, and it'll be I'm not gonna go that far, but I'm gonna say is a plan is I believe, based on people I've heard talk, a plan is in place for a new stadium downtown.
Oh, let's save.
I cannot confirm or deny whether there's a roof on it.
You can say what you've heard, but you can't confirm
I can't confirm or deny anything I just said, to be honest with you.
No, that's true. Rashid Turner has a super chat. He says, "We need a Fletcher Cox type. I'm tired of the excuses for this defensive line. Star, Jerry, and Trent are my dream cuts." Well, Trent will be gone because his contract's up anyway after this season, so he won't be back. Star, unless he's restructured, will be a very difficult cut, because that would have been the option for you next year had this year counted.
So if Star is about like an $8 million cap hit if you cut him this year, because it's last year's contract. If Star would have played this season, his cap hit would have been a lot smaller this year, and you could have gotten rid of him. So I mean, it is what it is. He made the decision. The Buffalo Bills and NFL teams agreed to this. The plan was to cut Star Lotulelei this offseason. They're gonna have to hold on to him for another. So maybe they try to restructure. Who knows?
Maybe, and I'm not sure what Jerry's cap hit number is, but I would imagine it's probably in the north of 5-6 million.
Jerry Hughes? Oh, dead cap? Yeah. No, 1.7.
Oh, 1.7. Okay.
And you save $7 million.
Okay, so he's
one of the easiest players to cut, him and John Brown.
He could be then. He could be.
And Lee Smith. You save just no guarantees. Lee Smith's contract next year is 1 year, $2 million, no guarantees.
Astro 55 says, "What's with the Jerry Hughes slander? I thought we loved him."
I love Jerry. I didn't say anything about Jerry. No one tell Jerry I was talking smack.
We are Jerry Hughes fans on this show. I like Jerry.
I was defending him.
Yes, you were. In the comments section, I think is what they're saying. Rashid is not a Jerry fan. Rashid says, with another super chat, "Star has no heart. He doesn't love the game." And then Caitlin Blunt, who is a regular of ours, says, "Buffalo Fanatics buying Bill Stadium after these super chats." Yeah. I need to buy a new sweatshirt apparently, because this one's press is coming off. But yeah,
man.
These super chats, it's funny because it figures we would get a ton of super chats tonight on the freaking night that the technology.
I'm not gonna lie. Working. Yeah, this is the most uncomfortable I've felt behind the microphone in a long time. I feel like I probably said a lot of ums. I probably stuttered. I probably repeated myself a few times. Like, I'm sweating bullets over here just because, like, the comment section and all that stuff, like, I'm feeling the lights in my face today. And hopefully,
just so people know how it's working behind the scenes, I'll take them a little behind the scenes here. I'm on our streaming platform looking at the comments, but then I'm having to flip back to YouTube to see the live comments and then read them.
Yeah.
So Brooke comes in with a super chat here. Thanks, Brooke. If they build a new stadium, they're going to put it near the Harbor Center where the Sabres play. benefit is there. Is public transit to the game? Yeah, you could see maybe a situation like in New Orleans where they have the Superdome right next to the Smoothie King Center. That's a possibility. Would kind
Listen,
of make sense.
all I'm going to say is Terry Pagula may or may not be buying a lot of real estate in the Perry Street Project area, which borders Harbor Center. That's all I'm saying.
Breaking rumors, is that what we're going to be called here? That's I like it, man. I think that I don't live in Buffalo anymore, so for me, the location, I guess, isn't as important to me. And I know that sounds bad for the people there. I know people have their preferences, but like new stadium location, I don't really have a big preference there.
I've always wanted it to be at the Grand Central Terminal. I want them to like refurbish the Grand Central Terminal and redo the area around that, and then utilize the rail lines over there to literally like create a designated driver to everyone in Syracuse and Rochester. They could just show up at the train terminal, and they can just take the train to the tailgate. Like they could bring their beers on the train, maybe not drink the beers on the train, but like bring their coolers on the train, all that stuff, and just roll right under the game. Not have to worry about driving.
Brian wants to know if you shipped his shirt out yet. Because I think Brian Bowers, didn't he win a shirt?
Yes, he did. I placed the orders Saturday morning, so they should be. I believe today is probably the day that the company that ships them, Teespring, probably started processing the order. I believe they only work on business days, so you should be getting it. You should be getting it by. Should be getting it. They're a little slow this time of year. Yeah, about this week. Next week. Not to knock 26 shirts, but when you buy a 26 shirt, you wait a long time for it. Buffalo Fanatics, you get it like 3 days later.
It's true. I got this Air Raid hoodie in like 3 days. Matthew Montgomery, this is not a super chat, but it's a comment I want to ask you in the chat. He says, does Judge blast Creed in his home after every Bills victory? I will be disappointed if he doesn't.
I don't, but I should. I'm actually a huge 90s like music fan, but I'm not like really the biggest fan of Creed. Like Third Eye Blind, Gin Blossoms, Google Dolls. I'm a like Bush. I love Bush.
Seen Third Eye Blind in concert,
which is weird because Manscaped is our sponsor, but I love me some Bush. Third Eye Blind. I've been to more Third Eye Blind concerts than I would like to admit to.
That's fine. Rashid says, I wouldn't say it to his face. A super chat here from Rashid, so thank you. Rashid wants to get his takes in tonight, and I appreciate that.
He wouldn't say it to Jerry Hughes' face?
No, he's talking about Star now. He says, I wouldn't say it to his face because he's 300 pounds, but it's the truth. No pro athlete has died from COVID. Name one. He has no heart. That's a little harsh, I would say.
He's a big boy. Like, all those guys, they're big boys. Like when you weigh that much and you have a respiratory illness, and you get a respiratory illness, like I said, I'm not judging anyone's decision to opt in or opt out this season.
I'm with you on that. People are now talking about some bands they like in the chat section and some.
Let's go.
Richard Rush, a regular.
Does he like Rush?
He likes heavy metal all the way. So I guess Rush isn't really heavy metal, but they get close. Nick Corey says Goo Goo Dolls for sure.
Hell yes.
Jeff King now comes in with a super chat, says come draft time, big running back. I say speed running back.
Hey, Najee Harris just ran for a touchdown in the national championship game.
Pass rusher and beef up the D line. I think we're all kind of on that. A lot of people are kind of on that train of
here. I tweeted.
Did you like No Doubt? Is the question from Sergio Chavez.
My fiance will kill me for saying this because she gets so mad. Gwen Stefani was my first crush. Not gonna lie. Oh my.
Gavin, wasn't she? She was married to the dude from Bush, wasn't she?
Yeah, I may or may not have had my first something to like a Gwen Stefani No Doubt video. I was like, what's this? What's this?
All right. Truth to Heart's coming in with a super chat. We shouldn't overact to any deficiencies on our team. Name one team that's perfectly built, and if you can, that team should get the trophy now. He is totally right, and that's the kind of mindset we need to have going into this game and hopefully more to come the rest of this season. There is not one team that's perfectly built. The Chiefs have their deficiencies. The Ravens obviously have theirs in the passing game. The Bills, they do have theirs as well. So He's truth to hearts. He always brings very good perspective, and I really like when he's in the comment section because he brings really interesting and, like his name says, truthful perspective here, and I appreciate that. Red Hot Chili Peppers, TMI, just as Corey Buffalo.
Sorry, Corey.
The Police is
Oh,
another one.
Sting
Judge,
is a good.
ever listen to Green Jelly? Yeah, I did listen to Green Jelly. One song they had a.
That's a band.
The Bear Went Over the Mountain.
I've never heard of Green Jelly before.
Richard Rush. So what's the name of that song? Bear Went Over the Mountain. Anyway, congrats, Bills fans. Nearly choked that though, says Jeremy. Yeah, well,
yeah, we did.
We didn't though. Eye of the Tiger, Survivor.
Final Countdown.
Rage Against the Machine.
Oh yeah.
Now we're getting people getting mad because they said I thought this was supposed to be a Bills show. We're winding towards the end of the show here. I know people want to watch the national championship game, so we're just having a little fun here at the end of the show. So,
as we tend to do. Are we back? I saw Styx was sick, so I feel like we're back.
Yeah, we're back. I mean, we might as well just try to
Oasis. There we go.
Oh, Oasis. Yeah, Oasis, Morning Glory. What's the Story? Morning Glory was a great album when I was like in middle school or like elementary school. That was a great one. But anyway, I digress. It's 21-14 Bama now.
Ahmad Mathis says, are there any pass rushers in free agency? Two names I would keep an eye on, and I'm not joking when I say this. Two names I would keep an eye on that I would appreciate if the Buffalo Bills went after. Number one, Jadavion Clowney. He's that sort of power player on the edge that we need. He's got a lot to prove because of injuries. You could probably get him on a 1-year, $6 million deal. Come prove it in Buffalo. You can get a player like that.
Why
not?
The
Houston Texans owe J.J. Watt 0 guarantees left in that contract, and he is set to make $17 million next year. J.J. Watt will probably end up on the free agent market. I don't know if the Buffalo Bills can afford a J.J. Watt, but could you imagine adding a personality and a leader and a guy like that to our defense, and especially our defensive line? If you can find any way to get that guy on your football team, go for it. I'm sorry. I missed Matthew Montgomery's right over there. Sorry. He says,
He says, can we talk about these young QBs that are and will be in the AFC moving forward? It will be hard to have a dynasty with all these. I mean, look, it could be a situation where it's like not just one team that's vying for AFC supremacy every year. It could be 4 teams or 5, right? If you talk about the Chiefs, you talk about the Bills with Allen, the Ravens with Lamar, the Browns with Baker, and even like let's not
Mahomes,
the Chiefs. I mean,
Justin Fields,
Justin Herbert, maybe with the Chargers.
Justin Herbert,
be a guy that makes some noise in the AFC. The AFC is loaded with a lot of
Deshaun Watson.
Oh my God! And can you imagine if he ends up in Miami? I don't even want to talk about that.
I have an ongoing chat with my cousin who's a Jets fan. And he used to do a local ESPN spot for his college, and he used to do it like a Jets talk show. And so we have conversations all the time. And
Joe Burrow,
Joe Burrow. I told him, I was like, listen, if Miami gets Deshaun and the Jets get Fields, I'm not going to be upset about it. Like, if you have faith in Josh Allen and he's your quarterback, no one's going to do what Tom Brady did. It's not going to happen. It's just not. So if the AFC East with Deshaun Watson on the Dolphins and Justin Fields on the Jets, and the AFC West with Herbert and Mahomes, and you got the AFC South with Trevor Lawrence, even if you have all these juggernauts and you can still manage 1 or 2 Super Bowls and a couple more AFC championship games, that's still a hell of a lot of fun. Josh Allen's not going to do what Tom Brady did. No one's going to do what Tom Brady did. Enjoy the ride. We have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and he's going to be one of the best for a long time. Have confidence. If you are the best, you can beat the best. We did miss Rashid, so before we get to Ollie's, Rashid said, revamp the O-line. Run blocking is terrible. Watch this Ohio State game. Their right guard, Wyatt Davis, is a day one plug-and-play right guard. He can pass block. He can run block. I wouldn't mind if the Buffalo Bills took an offensive guard if it's Wyatt Davis with their, 30th pick in the draft, 32nd pick in the draft. So if Wyatt Davis is on the board, you want to consider him round 1, he would be a plug-and-play player. All right, now to Ali Akbar, right?
Yeah. What do we think here?
I don't even know what he said.
All right.
Till money
I
looks like Ariel Helwani, the UFC guy who's a Bills fan.
Yeah, I just found him on the internet. I found a picture, so here you go.
I can see it. I
got to
see
grow my
it.
beard out a little bit more, but
Yeah, you got to shave your head too.
Yeah,
I can see it.
Okay.
I had no idea he was Bills Mafia until this summer, and he actually followed me on Twitter, which I thought was super weird. And I was like, why is this UFC dude following me on Twitter? It turns out he's Bills Mafia, and then I tried to DM him to get him on our show, and he never responded. So it's whatever.
Well, we got another super chat, and of course, they're not working again. So Jeff comes in, says, Matt, I don't need a dynasty. Just want one for my dad, for the city of Buffalo, and us fans. One is good enough for me. Okay, it came back in, and I am totally with Jeff on that one. I think that it doesn't matter to me over the next 10 years how many, as long as there is one in there, I will be happy.
If we get one and we're relevant over the next decade, I'll sign up for that.
Think about it. The Saints have been relevant since Drew Brees has been in New Orleans. They
got one. Yeah.
The Packers since Aaron Rodgers has been there one. I mean, it's very hard to win, right? It's super hard to win. You think about a lot of the quarterbacks that never even made it to a Super Bowl that are going to be Hall of Famers. Like Phillip Rivers, the guy we just played, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He never even played in the Super Bowl, right? He never played in the Super Bowl. So it's really tough. And
I mean, how many Super Bowls did Ben Roethlisberger play in?
He played in three. In three. He lost to the Packers and won two.
All right. And then like Aaron Rodgers played in what? Two?
No, I'm sorry. Aaron Rodgers only played in one, and he won one. He's only played in one. He beat the Steelers. That was it. And Peyton Manning played in
three.
No,
two with the Colts, went 1-1. They lost to the Saints. He never did. He won one with the Colts, right?
And Denver. He won.
And then he won one in Denver. I mean, it's not easy. First of all, a couple of people brought up Nick Wright in the comments section. If you guys know this, like, listen, I don't want to have a long, drawn out conversation about Nick Wright, but someone was telling me that he chickened out of his bet with Colin Cowherd today.
Oh,
did that happen?
I don't know, but I know that the initial terms of the bet were that no wins, Cowherd lost. One win, push. Anything more than one win, Nick Wright loses. So I heard he bailed out of that. Because it's still live. Technically.
Peyton won 4 times because he got absolutely butt fucked the one time when he was
by Seattle. Yeah. my friend.
Sorry, maybe I should have said butt fucked on the air, but my bad.
So did he like bow out of it, or is it still live?
What? Hombre Lob, like, what was his excuse? That he's a pussy?
He's not doing the bet anymore. Oh my God.
What was his excuse? What was his excuse? Like, he's just a pussy? Like, he's not, like, I don't understand.
How about Mike's super chat here? Since you know people who know people who know people who got the naming rights.
I haven't asked that question yet. Maybe I should ask that question. But I have not asked that question yet. Also, the rumors I heard on the Bill Stadium were like 2 years ago. So
this doesn't make sense, though. Nick said he would do it, but Colin is out. But Colin is in the clear at this point.
Colin's in the clear. Yeah. Colin.
Like, he doesn't have to do anything. It's all gravy for Colin at this point.
So the bet was. Can I talk about one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my entire life?
You can talk about it.
So I found the video of Nick Wright talking, and it was one of his stupid videos. And I literally, in all caps, I cropped the video and I commented micro penis energy in all capital letters. And I wake up the next morning and Steve Tasker had retweeted it.
It was so great.
Do you think Steve Tasker saw it? Because he quote tweeted, he made his own comment, like, I really disagree with what this guy has to say, blah, 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 blah. Do you think he saw the words micro penis energy?
No, I think he saw. I think what happened was Steve Tasker, that was the first time he saw the video on his timeline. Because a lot of people were posting that video. That was the first, that happened to time up perfectly with when he first saw it, and he was like, "Yeah, I gotta quote retweet this," and never read what it said. But kudos to him because he didn't delete it.
Yeah, and we got so many follows out of that. And if you look at the comment section of Steve Tasker's thing, everyone was like, "Dude, Steve Tasker just retweeted something with the word micro penis."
Oh my goodness. I'm really surprised that Colin backed out of the bet. That doesn't really make any sense to me why Colin would back out, but hey,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Colin's just being like, I think those two literally planned that, in my opinion. Like Colin was like, all right, I'll take the Bill side. You hate on the Bills and we'll get a bunch of retweets. And we all fell for the trap. But Nick Wright is just, he's a really fun punching bag. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah, but then no.
But Colin was already off the hook.
Yeah, no. So this happened last week. Colin's birthday was like last Friday. And Nick Wright, being the pompous asshole that he is, was like, oh, Colin, for your birthday, I'll let you off the bet. And Colin was like, no. Colin said no. Colin didn't take himself off the hook. So I don't, from what I heard today, a couple people on Twitter said, and his show was like 4 freaking hours long. I'm not going to go back and rewatch all of Colin's show. Some people said that on today's show, Nick Wright was on there as a guest and he backed out of the bet. Yeah, he's taking a money shot at ketchup, Jeff King, one way or another. I agree with you.
Yeah, if the Bills win, he is. But like that's why I didn't understand why Colin would back out, because he's in the clear now.
And here's the thing, Brian. Like, yes, shout out to Brandon Marshall, but Nick Wright like makes himself look like a bitch every day. Like, I watched that. Like I made this comment before. When you watch Skip Bayless, like him and Shannon Sharp, like it's an act. And whoever's usually hosting that show, I don't know who hosts it now. Like they're all in on it. They all joke. They all laugh. When you watch Nick Wright's show in the morning with Chris Carter and those two other hosts, I don't know their names, the looks on their face are like legitimate cringe. Like they're trying to smile and laugh, but like it's cringeworthy to them half the time he opens his mouth. It's ridiculous. Like it's not like Skip Bayless. It's not.
Nope. But anyway, so I think it looks like we're coming to the end here. I know people want to get to watching the game. It looks like it's 21-14.
21-14, and Ohio State is driving. Justin Fields is throwing, and he threw it way over that guy's head. If Josh Allen threw that pass, no, I'm just kidding.
So I guess we'll let everyone get to watching the rest of the first half of that, and appreciate you. Yeah, appreciate everyone being patient with us tonight with the super chats and the stream issues. I don't know what happened, but we did have over 300 people in here at one point watching. So that's awesome. We'll obviously have our preview show on Thursday at our normal 8:00 slot. So any final thoughts on the Colts game, Steve?
Let me look through my notes real quick, not to hold anyone up, but I got one more thing, and we'll talk about this more on Thursday. I think that Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson this weekend could be the battle for 2018 quarterback supremacy. I think if Josh Allen wins, he can take the mantle. I understand that Lamar has an MVP, but Josh Allen would have the superior playoff record, and even though he's probably not going to win MVP, would have an MVP caliber season. So I think Josh Allen takes the mantle of best quarterback in the 2018 class from Lamar if the Buffalo Bills win on Saturday. And Timothy, what a way to end it. What a way to end it. Timothy, bing, bingity, bing. I don't have a bell. I'm not Rico.
That's it. I'm going on Amazon right now. I'm going on Amazon right now to find a gavel for you, and I'm sending it to your house.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as always, much appreciated. You guys were frigging spectacular tonight. This show is absolutely nothing without you guys. You truly are the third host. Richard coming in saying, listen, Judge and Tilt, you worked through a rough start. Kind of like the Buffalo Bills. Did a great show.
Yeah, I'd say out a little rough.
I say it was more Buffalo Miami type of comeback than it was Buffalo Colts. But
yes, we didn't barely hang on at the end. We kind of put it in overgear.
All right, we got boys. Yeah, Ombre Rob saying, "Good show, boys. I love the Bills. Good. I mean, air raid hour. My favorite show. I look forward to it." Speaking of the air raid hour,
air raid shirt on. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, go Bills.
Go Bills.